I ran to Viacom because a teammate of mine's sister worked at BET. And I ran there just to like hang out. And then she introduced me to the VP of marketing. I was like, I want to be here. Okay. And I got an email like the next day, like, you're in. And then the director of the acting program found out and was like, you got to choose, essentially. Okay. You have an opportunity to perform this summer, or you go do the thing. Choose.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Hassiem Muhammad, and you are listening to The Actor's Instrument, where we discuss the essential qualities you need to stand out in the entertainment industry. When Ceremonies and Dark Old Men first premiered Off-Broadway nearly 60 years ago, James Baldwin said that it was the most truthful play I have seen in a long time. This Pulitzer Prize nominated play is back off-Broadway, its run has been extended, and today we are joined by one of the actors from the show. Bryce Michael Wood currently stars as Theo in the revival of Ceremonies and Dark Old Men, in which he shares the stage with Tony, Emmy, and SAG Award nominee Norm Lewis. Bryce can be seen in FBI Most Wanted and Law and Order, and he has performed in stage productions around the country, including Shakespeare and Company, a solo rep, the Contemporary American Theater Festival, New York's famed Shakespeare in the Park, and many, many more. Bryce, my man, thank you for joining me.
What's going on, baby? How you doing?
I'm good, bro. Out here hustling. You know how that is.
I really do. I really do.
But yo, man, congrats. Congrats on the show. It looks like it's being received very well.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's been a blast and a happy, unexpected situation. To be honest with you, like I didn't when going to this initial audition, I did not see this panning out the way it did. To be honest with you,
Really, why is that?
I'll be real with you. Like I was in a cycle of just working all the hustle jobs that we work, and even anybody will tell you, like, reading this play, it's much better, like, performed and, like, read out loud. It is not, like, an easy read. So I remember I was traveling for work, like, at an airport and trying to, like, read through the play. I was like, "This is not easy to read." And, like, really, like, truthfully, like, I'm not, like, enjoying my read right now. And then knowing that I had the audition when I was getting back to the city, it actually took my wife to be like, just go in. I was like, all right, I'll go in. And from there, from there it's history. But yeah, initially I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, man.
Yo, that's what's up. I feel like, man, I've heard so many actors say something along those lines. Like it was the thing they least expected, ends up being the thing that falls in their lap.
Genuinely, genuinely, like, least, like, truly, it was a God thing. This is a God situation for sure.
Hmm. That's what's up. That's what's up. Now, and it's funny because I have I don't know where I got it, but
Mm,
like I have it, and I remember I must have got it when I was in college or something. And I remember like it is not like it's not a play you're just like, oh, let me read a play on this Sunday afternoon. Like
mm.
it's yeah. So
No, no, no.
I feel you there. I feel you there. Now, this is your second off-Broadway production, correct? Shakespeare in the
Yeah.
Park. Cool.
Or no, third. I
Or
would say third. Third. I did a production called Superhero, directed by Warren Adams, uh, which was like 2 years ago. Trying to remember, the venue was like in, so I'm blanking on the specific, like, the space it was in, but so I would say this is my third for sure.
dope. Dope, dope, dope. What's the noticeable difference for you between performing here in the city versus in the regional circuit?
I'll be real with you, and any actor that does both can attest to this. There's something, depending on the town you're in, if it's regional, there's something so surreal about being away and only focusing on like your work. There's something so like that I took for granted early on in like my acting career that I just assumed like all work would be like that, where you just are away and you have total autonomy of your time to just work on your craft. Whereas I would say in the city, there's the city and there's like your survival jobs. And there's the energy of the city trying to do your work, but then also working. Like, because I'm not on Broadway right now. So like still gotta eat, still gotta pay rent, you know what I mean? But I would say the ability to just seclude myself in a regional setting versus fully being immersed in the city and still having to live life while also trying to like craft together a character and a story.
Man, I we're gonna go down this rabbit hole, and I'm so glad that you brought it up, um, because I feel like there's a bit of a misconception when it comes to performing in New York, and it's like, "Oh, like, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere." Sure, but as you said, especially when you don't have that Broadway or production league contract,
Mm.
I've heard some crazy numbers, like what people get paid to do these shows, and it's not that the
Mhm.
show isn't respectable. It's not even that the theater or producing organization is respectable or not. It's just it's so expensive to live in New York City.
Yeah, 1,000%. It's yeah, and I'm a married man, so like that also plays into like us we not me we gotta eat, we gotta pay
Yeah,
rent, we gotta make sure that everything is everything. So yeah, it's not that it's just there you go, you get it.
I'm right
It's
there with
not
you.
it's not that the money isn't like okay depending on whatever theater contract you get. It's just
Mhm.
that you know it's expensive here. Like
Yeah, yeah,
truthfully, day to day life is expensive here.
yeah. And I have no idea what you're making on this contract. So I'll just say for an example for people listening, like if you're making $800, $600 to $800 off Broadway, that's considered like a pretty respectable
Mhm,
off Broadway contract. Like
mhm,
that's not low at all. That's actually like
mhm.
pretty good. Um, and if I'm from South Carolina, if I'm in South Carolina making $600 a week, such a huge difference between that. Like in New York City, that's literally I think that's a little less than the minimum wage. So maybe
Yeah,
like
it
and
is.
and there are some contracts that pay below there's a lot of contracts that pay below that.
Yeah.
Um, now you're someone who has been very, vocal about you mentioned side hustles multiple times already.
Mhm.
We're less than 10 minutes in and you mentioned this. Um, I know some actors are a bit sensitive around that topic and keep it really private, you know?
Mm.
But I see you on Instagram, you're like, "Yo, pull up Bryant Park, SoulCycle. I'm teaching
Yeah,
tonight."
yeah.
You know?
What's the secret? Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean,
I'd like to hear your perspective, like, how do you treat that part of your, you could say, parallel career, side hustle, or what have you, alongside your acting career?
just priorities. I feel like when I first got to this city back in 2017, I just had to find something that made sense. I was an athlete in college, and then I stayed pretty active all throughout grad school. And so, one of the career advices that we got was like pick something that's sort of in your lane. And they immediately like every faculty member came to me and was like, "We know what lane you're going in." And I honestly didn't even want to do it. I was like, I knew some personal trainers in the city, and it's like being a personal trainer and a group fitness instructor, two different things. Being a personal trainer is like not easy to make a living on early on. Like you really got to hustle and grind to get clients. And you have to pray that you're in a gym that's going to like compensate you for those clients. Anyway, got to the city 2017. I think my first actual job, I worked front desk at a gym because pro hack for anybody that needs to work out and is an actor, work at a gym, free gym membership. Like that is one less expense. Did that. I honestly didn't like that particular place. We won't drop names. But then this is so funny actually that I'm about to tell this, but a friend was like, "You're fit. You should work at SoulCycle." I didn't know what SoulCycle was. And she was like, "I have a friend that works there. I'm gonna have him be like your rec, and he's gonna like recommend you over there." I'd never met this man in my life. And I get an interview, and I'm not even going to use his name, but they were like, "We love, let's call him Ray." They were like, "We love Ray, and Ray says you're the best." I had never met Ray. He said, Ray says you're the best. And I was like, yeah, man, Ray's my
Go ahead,
guy.
Ray.
Ray's my guy. And started working front desk there. Front desk. And to cut the short story like way short, they eventually asked me if I wanted to be an instructor. And I'd said no because my priorities were what they were. I saw like what goes into being an instructor, and I was like, I'd rather show up, check people in, and then while they're in class, I'm gonna be in the script or I'm gonna be in my sides. I'm gonna be kicking it. I don't want to go in there. I don't want to do that. That looks like a lot of like effort and time. And I'll skip some more. I eventually auditioned to get in, and the first thing for any actors out there, the first thing I let my job know is just what my priorities were. It was just like, hey, this is not like my dream. A lot of for a lot of people, this isn't for me. But I'm happy you want me. Happy to be here. But if I have to leave to go do a gig, I'm gonna pick that. If I need to audition, I'm gonna pick that over this. If I have rehearsal, I'm gonna pick that over this. If you're good with that, then we're good. If you're not good with that, then also okay. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I will go find a place that, you know, is good with that. But I don't, you said people are like a little clouded with their side hustles. Explain that. I didn't even know that that was like a
Ho
thing.
how many actors do you know who are posting on social media when they're headed to their shift waiting tables?
Hey, now that's, that
I'm just
is certainly a thing.
I'm not even, like, putting, like, a judgment on whether I think that's,
Yeah.
like, good or not. It's literally an observation. Like,
Yeah.
and I'll even use myself, so I'm not, like, speculating about other people. I'm pretty private about my side hustle. Like, I don't think I really post about it either. People can kinda guess because they see me at the gym all the time.
Sure.
So people kinda guess, but, like, I don't really, like, advertise that, like, I'm a personal trainer or, like,
Mm,
I teach 7 classes a week.
yeah.
Like, I don't know if anybody knows that. Now everybody knows that.
Now, though, I mean,
But
you didn't put yourself out
but
now.
right, come through, come through.
Yeah,
I'm
pull up.
uptown. Um, and similarly, I fell into, like, working at a gym. Similar experience to you where somebody recommended me. I had never been a personal trainer in my life.
Mm,
Honestly, I was kinda trying to avoid it because everybody was pushing me that way.
yeah.
Similar thing, they're like, "Oh, you're really fit, da, da, da," and I was like at the time, I was like, "I don't even really go to the gym myself." You know,
Yeah.
I was, like, doing a lot of, like, acro and dance and, like, circus
Mhm,
stuff and, like, that's and martial arts, and so, like, that's how my body was being developed. Um, but yeah, back to what I was saying, like, I think that a lot of actors, there's a little bit of shame around needing to support
mm,
oneself outside of the art, and
mm,
that's something
mhm,
I know from speaking with a lot of actors. I know that to be true.
mhm,
um, there's this feeling like I have to make all of my money as an artist in order to be successful.
mm.
What's your perspective on that?
I have plenty of perspectives. I think um, when Bryce first got to the city in 2017, success was just callbacks. You know what I mean? Like consistently getting called back, being like, bet, like we're in the city and I am getting called back, like, at least once a week, like success. Then the next step is like booking it. Wow. Okay, you booked it. Then the next is like just completing the job, like doing the job. I'm not talking about accolades. I'm not even talking about positive reviews, like meaning literally being serviceable. And there's levels to it. And then bringing it all the way to you can only be successful if you make all your money as an artist. I think that's a shared thing in the back of everyone's mind. I think that is ultimately the goal that everyone's shooting for. I'd be lying if I said I don't want to quit all of these jobs and just to be a performer or just be an artist. I think it comes in waves. I think there's levels to it. But I wouldn't use the word success. I think that's like it's a box. I think the word success as an artist, I think you could get put into a box. You can put yourself into a box and then like limit yourself because you're not willing to go over here for this like $300 check because that's not considered to be successful, or you're not willing to do the show that I'm doing for however much I'm making while doing all out. Like there was a day 3 weeks ago where I worked 5 jobs in one day. it just you just gotta like it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. Um, but to yeah, I would never put myself in don't use like success as the box to me that I fell into early and thought my way to get out of in order to like just be free uh as a creative. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, the dream is the dream. The dream is to like I wake up and this is all I do
for
all
sure.
day, every day. However, there's people on Broadway that once their show is over, I mean, I know where you're going. I'm gonna see you at your job again soon. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
Not saying any names, but like not everybody's that immediately. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's not to say it won't happen, but like, yeah, I don't think you're not successful if you have to work for what you want.
I love that. I think that's a really helpful perspective that's rooted in reality and still keeps the priorities in check, as you said. The
Yeah,
priority is a priority. We all know
yeah,
what we want.
mhm,
How you get there, you might have to humble yourself a little bit, right?
yeah.
And say like, in the meantime, until that happens, I got to do what I got to do,
Yeah,
and,
we
and that's very
like the trap is the trap, bro. Like I remember at any level, like I was an athlete growing up. Like it's the same trap. Like once I finally started getting Division 1 offers, I was like, cool. Like now I could now, you know what I mean? Like now I'm successful. When I was getting the
yeah.
D2s and the D3s, it was like, I ain't gonna talk about that. But then once I got the D1 offers, I was
Ooh,
like, right? It's lit. You know what I mean? And then same like once I graduated, grad school for acting, it was like I'm not gonna really post it. Oh, booked it now. I'm not about to post the process. I'm not about to post that I'm going in for stuff, which I don't think you need to. But I'm just saying, like we only post like or
yeah.
talk about the pretty thing. And I
S-
had to let that go.
Yeah, man. Social media is a highlight reel.
Yeah,
That's what I always say. It's a highlight reel,
yeah,
and we judge people off their highlight reels for better or for worse,
mm,
right? Like people, I've had people say like, "Oh my God, Hasim, like you're working all the time," and on one hand, like maybe a little like flattered that that's the perception, but on the other, I'm like, yo, I'm like, what? I just worked 5 jobs. What you
yeah,
mean? Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's not my reality.
I know.
Um,
Yeah, it's crazy.
but it's the perception. Now, okay, you D1 track, yeah,
Yeah.
at Notre Dame.
Mm,
How do you go from a Division 1 athlete, which I think a lot of people would consider an extreme success in that world,
mm.
to acting and entertainment? Like,
Um,
where does it
uh, the story is the same. I tell the story all the time, and you're probably gonna get the first recorded version of it.
Hey.
But claiming that I'm gonna be telling the story for the rest of my life. But yeah, I was, track and field, Notre Dame. I was in their marketing program at the time I was there, and it still might be, but the Mendoza Business College is like the #1 business school in the country. So just made sense to be there and do that. But everyone, I want to say everyone at Notre Dame, but at least in the business school, you have to get a fine arts credit, like 3 credits, for fine arts. And so I just wanted to take the intro to theater because in my mind I was like, I'm funny, make some people laugh, and then call it a day, get me an A, right? Like it'll be cool, it'll be chill. It's what are we doing? It's theater in my mind. Like what are we doing? Give me a quick little A, and then we did a two-person scene on camera for whatever reason in like a lecture hall. So it wasn't like a studio or anything. It was a lecture hall, intro to theater for the 9 major. And we did a two-person scene on camera. Um, did that, and then after the professor came up to me after that and was like, "Hey, man, why you was doing this two-person scene on camera? Like you had the whole lecture hall like engaged." And I was like, "Cool, cool, cool." You know what I mean? He was like, "You should come do my play." And I remember I was like, "No," and I was like leaving. It's like I'm not gonna do that. You know what I mean? Like that's the most at the time, like that's the most uncool thing I could do. I'm gonna go and I'm keep my little Letterman jacket on and keep it pushing with my teammates. And he was like, "I'll give you extra credit," and I was like, "Start there, absolutely. I'll do your play." What do you mean? Yeah, I'm in. I'm in. And you want to know what it was called? The play was called A Servant of Two Masters, which is in the style of Commedia dell'arte. My first theater experience was like one of the hardest, like, or most, not even hard, just extreme versions of theater as far as mask work and like,
Yeah.
character work. I was Pantalone, so like
Mm.
crotchety old man that loves money and sex. Anyway, did that. People was laughing. I was like, this is lit. Like, okay, like this is where this energy belongs. But then truthfully, I left. I was like, cool, that was really fun. Back to being who I am. And the theater department at Notre Dame really urged me to like lean in. They didn't have any black men in the department at the time. And they had a black actress and she wanted to do Clybourne Park. And so they were like, please, she was like, please. And they were like, please, just come on. So I was like, all right. And then I ended up minoring, not in theater, in television because that felt safe. I was like, I'll minor in TV here. So, but that kind of got the ball rolling. And then shouts out to Notre Dame for like sort of funding all my grad school applications and auditions and helping me to
So
just kind of get out there and eventually end up at UConn for my master's. But that's the journey of like very much serious D1 athlete to performer. There's a lot I skipped, but that's like the
sure,
short version.
sure. Was there any like fear around like abandoning
Yeah,
athletics?
yeah, 1000%. It kind of went like this. Without getting too much into it, I had like plenty of injuries while I was in school, and my senior year was kind of like the first year I was healthy, and I can kind of see daylight and be like, okay, this is kind of who I remember being. And then I also auditioning for these grad schools, finally doing like decently well on the track, producing, and then also thinking about like life after school. And at the time, Notre Dame was an Adidas school, so we always had Adidas reps there. And so I just made sure I aligned myself with Adidas to make sure I could like have somewhere to go. If
Sure.
I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
going
yeah.
broke, I need like a job, like a good job, but like something in sports. So I ended up landing an internship with Adidas. And so it literally, and then I also, had my offer from UConn for the MFA program. And I didn't make any decisions. I just kind of like went into my summer. I was at Adidas in Oregon, and then I had like this pending decision to make, uh, whether or not I do this thing. Loved working at Adidas. Had the best summer of my life. Shouts out to Portland, Oregon is like lit. If you've never been to Portland, Oregon over the summer specifically, it's amazing. They're what am I trying to say? Their MTA subways there, public transit is impeccable, impeccable. Anyway, had the best summer of my life. I was there with some teammates that also got the internship, and then, but I kind of just was there. Like I hadn't made a decision, so I wasn't really thirsty to get a job there. And I also wasn't really thirsty to like go get my FFA. I was literally just like chilling with options. God is good because I had them. And I ended up meeting with like the heads of every department at Adidas because that's what they teach you to do at Notre Dame is just network. I wasn't really trying to get a job. I just like was hanging out and I got a couple job offers on accident. They were like, "This dude's cool. He don't even want to be here, but he's cool." He don't. He's not even trying to like. He's not running me down to get a job. He just wanted to like talk to talk.
And that's why they want to
Uh,
work with you because you're
right.
not
I
because
wasn't. I wasn't really up their butt like that. I was just
right.
like, I'm just trying to like. You're cool. So I just want. But anyway, essentially, it came down to like a question I had for myself of like, I can always do this. This Adidas thing, I can like always come back and do this. Uh, will I regret for the rest of my life not at least dipping my toe over here in this thing that I really did enjoy when I did it briefly? And so ultimately, I was like, I mean, dip my toe in. And even then, like, I wasn't committed my first year of grad school. I was just there, cool guy, not really locked in. Uh, and then yeah, I had my breakthrough moment after that summer because the director of our program found out through the grapevine because people talk snitches we took a trip to the Met in New York, and while we were at the Met, this is how crazy I am. While we were there, we had a lunch break that was like an hour. I ran to Viacom because a teammate of mine's sister worked at BET, and I ran there just to like hang out. And then she introduced me to the VP of marketing. I was like, I want to be here. Okay. Like it wasn't formal. I just literally pulled up and was like, I'm trying to be here this summer, internship, whatever. I'm your guy. She said, all right. And I got an email like the next day, like, you're in. And then the director of the acting program found out and was like, you gotta choose, essentially. Dale AJ Rose, I'm calling you out. He essentially made me decide. He was like, you can't have eggs in both baskets. Okay. You have an opportunity to perform this summer, or you go do the thing. Choose. And I was like, oh my God. Because I was kind of trying to keep it how I had with Adidas in school. I was just like, we just gonna kind of keep this
Uh-huh.
going, see what it
Yeah.
is. But that was the summer. He made me choose, and then when I did, like I meant it. Um,
Wow.
yeah,
That's what's up, man. Man, this I had no idea. I mean, like we weren't super close before this, but
yeah,
I like but had no idea. I knew you were an athlete, but that's truly incredible. Um and what a fascinating story, like how you got from point A to point B.
yeah.
Um I tell this story, I don't know if I've told it on this show. Um oh, actually, spoiler alert, this is gonna come up. We recorded, like, an episode that I'm planning on releasing a bit in the future where someone
Mm,
interviews me. One of the guests interviews me, but
gotcha.
it's not out there yet. Um, but I had a similar experience. It was not at the D1 level, but I wrestled in high school.
Okay.
Um, and I wrestled for 1 season, and I was really good.
Mm,
Like, I literally won a tournament for first season wrestlers. Like, they hold a tournament for, like, just if this is your first season.
yeah.
So I was categorically the best amongst the firsts. Um, and I grew up doing martial arts though, so, like, it was in my wheelhouse, but I never grappled before.
Hmm.
Um, had a ton of fun, I was really good, and I qualified for the lower state tournament,
Hmm.
and then after that, you could qualify for states and then nationals, whatever, and my I had auditioned for a boarding school in South Carolina
Hmm.
for the arts, and ever since I was in middle school, I wanted to be an actor,
Mm,
and I got a call back for this special school. It was the same weekend as lower states. And
yeah.
so I kinda had that same, like, you have to choose moment.
Hmm.
Um, and again, although, like, your experience, like, you were a grown adult, at the time for me, it felt just as monumental.
Yeah, huge,
You know what I'm saying?
huge.
It's like,
Hmm.
'cause I'm literally gonna it was a boarding school, it's like, I'm going to either move away from home and, like,
Hmm.
commit 100%. I'm going to be an actor, or, like, I can keep doing, like, plays at school, and then, like, I could really, like, wrestle and, like,
Mm,
go to camps and, like, try and get really good at this and maybe even wrestle at the next level. Um, and of course, I chose acting.
yeah, you did.
My coach was not happy.
I'm
Um,
sure.
he was not happy.
I'm
Uh,
sure.
but I was kinda just like I was like, "Yeah, I'm not going." I was like I made
Dang.
the like, in the moment, it wasn't, like, a hard decision, but it was the thing where I had in the back of my head, like, if acting doesn't work out, then I can wrestle. Um,
Sure.
but in that moment, I was like, I'm choosing acting right now. And I was like, it's just a
Mm,
callback, and if I get in, that's what I'm doing. And if I don't, um,
yeah.
yeah, it's interesting how we can be led down the path we're meant to be led down.
No, literally. You want to know what's funny? Like my mom reminded me once I like decided like I'm gonna go do this grad school acting situation. She was like, "You were a performer as a child," and I literally I was an athlete my whole life in my mind. I like blanked it all out, but I was in like show choir, like in elementary school, like singing and dancing, like with personality. And like she was like, "Yeah, you. This isn't like crazy that you're doing this.
Yeah.
It's you kind of always been that." And then to be honest, like there was something in the back of my mind my whole life that was like, I don't know how that happens, but I'm gonna be in movies. I don't know like what that is, but like one day, I don't know how
Yeah.
you get there. And at first it was like because I was a football player growing up. I was like, I'm gonna be in the NFL and then I'm gonna be on ESPN, and then someone's gonna be like, kids got it, and they're gonna put me in a movie. Right.
course,
That's what I
logically.
always thought it was. Like that's you. You're on TV because you're playing the sport. Then you're gonna be on TV to like talk about the sport, and then Terry Crews. You know what I mean? Like you just, you just make your way on through. But yeah, it happened this way. It happened how I was supposed to. I wasn't supposed to be like super locked into it. Sports was supposed to be my way. Discipline, like all of that, priority, what it is to prioritize and be able to lock in. Like I needed all of that to be able to do what I'm doing now.
Could you speak more to that? Because that's really interesting to me, like the transferable skills and how
Yeah.
athletics is aiding you currently in your process as an actor.
I feel like the ability to take direction is kind of a prerequisite. If you're going to be a good athlete, you need to be coachable. Like talent is one thing, but then like work ethic, like it has to be there. Like when I first started running track and field, like I wasn't short, but I was just like a chubby like kid. And to be honest, my dad's a college track coach now. He was always a track coach growing up, and it was a punishment. It was always his threat. He was like, "You get in trouble again, I'm putting you on this club track team." And I was be like, "No, no, no! Like
Mhm. I
I
don't wanna
don't want to
run.
do. I don't want to run track. I want to play
I'm chubby.
football. Right? I just want to play football and hit people." Um, but then whatever I got in trouble for, I got in trouble. Put me on the track. And literally just I found I was a hurdler all through once I figured that out, I was a hurdler in
I'll
college.
bet.
But once I found that and I liked it, and my dad was like, if you like it, you know what I mean? Like it's time to he locked me in at like 11 because I like lost some race and I was crying. And he was like, "You want to be the best? Just tell me." I was like, "I do," emotional. He said, "All right." And anyway, this the transferable qualities like being coachable, i.e., directable, being able to take like feedback and it not be personal, but it be like you just want me to be better, so I'm gonna listen to you in order to be better. And then just discipline. Like discipline is literally doing the things you don't want to do anyway. Like you don't feel like doing it, but you're gonna. You know what I mean? Because discipline leads to consistency, and consistency leads to like just confidence. And so like, and that's easier said than done. I've been around and met so many people that are undisciplined and aren't able to. They can't pinpoint why things don't go their way all the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like in my mind. I don't say it, but in my mind, I'm just like, I mean, not in a mean way, but you just lack discipline. You don't have that muscle or that mental thing that says, even though I don't feel like doing this, even though this is really hard, or even though eating this sucks, or even though having to drink this much water throughout the day, like I don't like peeing this much or whatever, like
Yeah, yeah,
I'm going to do it because it's
yeah.
gonna make me better. I don't feel like reading a monologue once a week and committing it to memory, but like I
Mhm.
just am. You know what
Yep.
I mean? I
Yeah,
just will. 'Cause I
yeah,
gotta, you know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah, and the capacity to keep showing up, you
Yeah.
know, because something that we don't like to talk about a lot, well, we talk about rejection a lot as actors, but I don't think we talk about, like, losing, right? Because ultimately, if you don't get a job, like, you haven't lost, but if we're being honest, it kinda feels that way, right? It's like,
Yeah.
I lost. I lost I lost out on that part, I lost out on that job,
Yeah,
and I definitely see the correlation between, like, as an athlete, like, you're not gonna win every race, every meet, but you're gonna keep showing up. As
yeah,
actors, like, you're not gonna book everything. In fact,
no,
that would be, like, it's not even possible, right? And, like, that w it wouldn't even work. Even if you did book everything, you couldn't do every job
no,
at a minimum, right? So,
no.
becoming comfortable with, like, that rejection, that sense of loss.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll call it this. So, I wanna say 2 things about what you just said. One, as an athlete coming into this industry, that was, like, the hardest thing to, like, turn off, because in athletics, if you're better, you're just better, and in arts, that's just not a thing. You know what I mean? Like it in sport, like I could impose whatever. It's just like if I'm better than you, I am. And the result is instant. I beat you, I win the race, we win the game, whatever. Like all of my hard work, I get to see in this instant pay off. Whereas as an actor, that is That is not the case. You can be as talented as you want to be. You can work as hard as you want to work. It matters because when you show up, you'll be ready. But as far as like the winning and the losing, it does not matter. Like either you're right or you're wrong, and that's like the tough pill that we all have to like swallow every single time. And then eventually, it's not even that hard to do because you'll be like, I mean, it's just it wasn't me. They didn't. I'm not that, and that's okay. You know what I mean? And then, oh shoot, I had another point. First thing was that, uh, oh, short-term memory. Um, I learned that in football because I played defense and offense. But when I got like to the good high school that I transferred into, they put me on defense. Um, short-term memory. It's so helpful, not just as an actor, but in life. Like when things go bad, like we still have to win the game. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like just
Right.
because this play went terribly wrong and you got beat and it was bad and you was embarrassed, you literally have zero time to like hang your head and be like, oh my God, I let everybody down and I'm embarrassed. Like coaches are like lock in, like it's done, it's over. Make up for it now, like kill it this time. You know what I mean? I think that's like so key when you're talking about the wins and the losses. Like the way to keep going forward is you just gotta like not even. It's like it didn't happen.
Yeah. I love that. The short-term memory, that's so important as an artist and especially as actors where it's the like the audition to the callback to you don't hear anything. Like that's that cycle.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. The correlation is strong there. Now, final question I have for you that I ask every guest is what is your defining quality that you bring to the table as a storyteller?
Hmm.
What sets Bryce Michael Wood apart from every other actor that walks in the room?
Oh, I don't know. It's hard to say like one thing. There's a lot of things I want to say. Um, well, I was gonna try. So like here's what I've been hearing back to me because I know it's not even something I've ever thought of, but at least in this process, specifically with ceremonies and Old Dark Man, my cast members, anytime we come out or we're like greeting patrons or whatever, and there's just conversation, something that has been like really nice to hear. Uh, yeah, just nice to hear is that I'm with you. Um, they've just said like on the stage, he's with me, like he is with me. And I do know that that is something that I'm always going to bring to storytelling or to a stage or a set. You're going to look into my eyes and you're going to be with me and I'm going to be right with you. I'm nowhere else. And I didn't realize that that was a quality I had until I kept hearing various people were saying things like he's really holding us down up there. He's like he has us, and I like to I it's not an active thing that I'm thinking of doing, but it's certainly a responsibility I feel like I take on in anywhere I'm at, uh, creatively or otherwise. I'm right here. I'm here with you. I'm nowhere else. Whatever you got to do, I'm listening, and it's coming right back, and I'm not leaving. Like you can leave all you want. I'll be right here when you get back mentally. Okay.
Y- you're present. I love it. And
Yeah.
that's the first time someone's given that response on the show. So
I guess
it
present would be the word. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
present. I'm right there with you.
that's what's up. Man, I
What
appreciate you
about
being
you? Hold on, don't do that.
oh,
What's yours? Don't leave.
it kind of as I think the last time somebody asked me this, I said it was my tenacity. Um I think that's what separates me in the business of acting.
Mm,
The ability to be disciplined and to keep showing up and like to take rejection and be like short-term memory, like you can't kill me. You can knock me down, but you can't kill me.
yeah.
Um as an storyteller, actor, like my physical skill set, I'll say
Okay.
separates me. Like I come with a bag of physical tools that in my experience I haven't encountered any other actor bring to the table.
Let's
Um
go.
and it's not appropriate for every role, but
But you got it.
I've got it. And, I can say that, I got to do my own stunts on FBI and I can
Mm,
say that, when I won the Helen Hayes Award for The Tempest, like it's because I had those skills and was able to apply it to that character of Caliban. And um, that is what makes me different immediately. Yeah.
I love that, man. Even if you don't even get to use them, like you are, like it's in there.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
happening like in small ways, no matter what. Like my athleticism, especially early on in my like growing up in acting. Oh my God, it was like amazing to just have it, to have a director be like, "Hey, could you?" Like, yeah,
Yep, for
I
sure.
could
Yeah,
twice.
I shot this commercial in December, and they were like, it was for Love's Diapers.
Mhm.
They handed me a baby and were like, "All right, we need you to jump with the baby and hit different poses with a live child."
With an actual breathing child, that's
And this
wild.
and this was not a part of the audition. They didn't ask me no questions. We're just in the
Yeah,
middle of the shoot, and they're like, "Here, you're gonna do this next." And so I was grateful that I was able to rise up and be like, "Actually, yeah, I can."
yeah,
Like
1000%.
I can, and I could bring that director's vision to life. So
That's what's up,
yeah,
bro.
yeah. Well, bro, your presence has been immensely appreciated today. Thank you for being right here with us. I know you're in the middle of a run and you're super busy and you got a show tonight.
No, I'm good. We had one. It's a weird. So the extension made the schedule wishy
Oh, so
washy.
it's not a standard run in with the extension.
No,
That's
I'm gonna
fair.
be. Yeah, I'm back on
Bet.
Thursday. We good.
Thursday.
Hmm.
Okay. Hey, enjoy. Well, thank you for coming during your
Yeah,
night
for
off.
sure, for
um,
sure.
enjoy the rest of your run, guys. If you're in New York City, grab a ticket. Go see Ceremonies and Dark Old Men off Broadway. If you enjoyed this conversation with Bryce, then you'll love a recent interview I did with the Blacklist's Lana Young. So be sure to check that out. And guys, thank you so much for tapping into this episode of The Actor's Instrument. Wherever you're listening, please give us a like, subscribe, or a follow. We really appreciate it. We'll be back next Tuesday. Till next time, y'all. Peace.